Oh, welcome to another Failure to Stop Friday. It's Friday. Big case breakdown today. It's a special show today for those of you who are on YouTube's. Appreciate you being here. I see a couple people in the live chats already starting to fill up. Nightkin, folk around find out. Mer 530. All right, here we go. Sorry about that. We have to mute it. We've got a live show going on here today, but I've got a very, very special guest with me today. His name is Glenn Wilkins. He's the owner of Fake News. And yes, as the title of today's show says, it's not hyperbolic. Glenn actually robbed a bank, and we're going to talk about it. How often do you get to say, I've met a bank robber? A lot of us, even cops, most of you are cops, first responders, a lot of you have thought, I wonder what it's like to rob a bank. Or maybe we've all said at one time or another, who the fuck robs a bank? Well, I happen to have somebody who's robbed a bank, and we can ask all those questions today, but it's a great turnaround story. Today's show is brought to you by ghostbed.com/Wolfpack. Sleep so good, it's scary. We also have factormeals.com/Wolfpack50. Back for the year, meal planning to the next level. Chef prepared, fresh, and never frozen meals delivered right to your door. Take us away, Joshua. And then we'll
the
get
growing
to
calls across the nation to defund the police.
To end policing as we know it.
Off the charts violence in New York City. 11 people shot in just 8 hours on Sunday.
This is about the police officers who every single day put on that uniform and they run towards danger when we run away from it.
Guns up, giddy up. Thank you all for being here. Abby Ellsworth on being a police officer is here. Mer 530. Welcome. I will actually, towards the end of the show, leave the chats open so that you guys can do a little Q&A with Glenn. Speaking of Glenn, let me bring him up here. Glenn, welcome to the Failure to Stop podcast.
Thank you for having me here, man.
Now, I don't know if you know this or not, but this is a show mainly for law enforcement officers. So there's probably a couple thousand cops sitting in their cop cars that are going to be listening to this.
I used to try to avoid them guys.
And just a little backstory on Glenn really quick. I met Glenn through the interwebs. He started a brand called Fake News, and it's geared more towards extreme sports, cycling, skateboarding. And of course, you guys all know on the show that if you've been following it for a day or two that my kids are skateboarders. And so he reached out and asked if he could give my kids some merch, some swag so they could rep his company. So we met up with him at a skate park. And then I met him and heard his story. And he literally started off with like, actually, I just got out of prison not too long ago for robbing a bank. And I was like, what the fuck? And then I just started hearing his story. I would never have guessed that this guy robbed a bank. So we ended up talking, and I just said, like, man, I think this is a story that people need to hear. Have you ever told this story? And he was like, no, not really. It's not really something I like to talk about. It doesn't really help my business all that much. And I said, well, man, I think you're a genuinely nice person, and I've enjoyed getting to know you. Would you be willing to come on the show and actually talk about it? And we chatted, and he said, you know what? I am. If it's going to help other people, I will. I'll do it. So yes, some people are like, what the fuck, indeed. Somebody says, well, this is rad. Yes, this is going to be a really good show. So first, I want to start, obviously we've Tarantino'd this, that it ends with a bank robbery. But where does it start? Like, so as a cop, as a dad,
right,
have to ask,
definitely,
what was the family life like before the incident?
So it's interesting. So I had both my mom and my father has always been there. Came up in a suburban neighborhood. I was on a swim team, raced motocross. For myself, I was always impulsive though. So if I had an idea or a curiosity, like, can I do it? I'd be the kid to be like, let's do it. Or if you're like, hey, don't touch the stove, I'll touch. I'm like, whew, that shit was hot. Can I do it again? But maybe if I move my hand quicker, same thing. So I always like want to test things out. I say probably with the bank, what kind of led up to that is April of the year, we had a house fire. And just that week, we had sold 2 of the dirt bikes. And that Friday, was supposed to pick up some more dirt bikes. But the house fire happened. So it was like, hey, no place to keep the dirt bikes. Priorities kind of changed in the household. And so during that time of not riding, that my impulses just kind of was put in other places. So I started getting in a little trouble around the neighborhood and just around the town of Knightdale. And one day I'm on YouTube and I see a suggested video and it's just like 20 seconds, and it's a man showing a note, and I was like, wow, that was easy. He just got a few grand. Now at the time, I didn't need the money. You know, it's not like I wish I could say like it was a situation where we were like we didn't have money and there was a real reason or something I could have said in my head. This is a reason to do this. But it was just out of curiosity. I was like, man, that was easy. He just showed the note, and I was like, could I do that? And so that night I was like, I Googled like how many people, like what's the chances of robbing a bank and getting away? And the stats were like, I can't remember the exact numbers, but I remember it wasn't low enough for me to be like, I couldn't do it. I was like, maybe I could do this and get away. The next week we're going on a fucking week-long trip to Disney World. So I was like, if I get away and go to Disney, it's act like this never happened. Oh. Bro, fucking the whole time before that happened, though, my mom was telling me for the whole month, she's like, look, in the spirit, I see you hitting a brick wall. Like, I don't know what you're planning, what you're doing, see you hitting a brick wall. And to myself, I was just like, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm not planning anything.
Now, how old are you at this point?
I was 17.
And you're 29 now.
Yeah, I'm 29 now.
So this is a while ago.
Yeah, a while ago.
So your mom says you're hitting a brick wall just because you're committing, like you could because you're just kind of running amok in the neighborhoods.
Yeah.
What was your friend group like? What was your peer group like?
Dude, a mix. Not the best kids, but I say more like I say misfits. Probably like getting in a little trouble, type of deal. Yeah, especially in high school. So 5th to 8th grade, I was homeschooled when I was racing motocross. And 9th grade came around, like the summer of 8th grade, I was like, Mom, I really want to go to school, be around kids and whatever. And so went to school. But my experience at school it wasn't like I got bullied or anything like that. But at first it felt like, you're too white for the black kids and you're too black for the white kids. Was kind of always how I felt coming up. Like I wasn't, like I said, it wasn't until I think I went to high school that I was in public schools.
So was the high school that you went to mixed?
Yeah,
like pretty mixed.
Yeah,
like
pretty
50-50 or like.
Yeah, exactly. But when I came in, I probably knew a few kids at school just because the 5th or 8th grade time I was homeschooled, and that it was an interesting time. Like,
so you felt like you were too black for the white kids, but too white for the black kids, because not a lot of black people race motocross. I can't imagine. Like, I don't know any pro black
or be on the swim teams.
Yeah. Well, there we go. Like,
right. Go to private
you're breaking
schools.
all the stereotypes here.
Like,
what was it like showing up to swim practice and being black? Was like everybody super excited to see you because they were like,
luckily we had like I think maybe 2 other black kids up there, so they had to share the excitement.
No, it's like black people are typically faster runners. Like, are they faster swimmers too?
Funny.
When they learn how to swim?
I'll say something I noticed about being black is if you go to if you're the minority in sports, like people look at you like, oh my God, is this guy about to be really great?
Yeah.
Type of deal. Like at motocross, I'll show up and there's this guy named James Stewart who's like the man in motocross. Okay. And they'll be looking at you like, is this about to be like a James Stewart type of a person? It's like, nah, just average rider, just type shit. Yeah.
Dude, it's crazy you say that because like I played rugby and stuff like that. And then now I do like jujitsu, some like MMA style stuff. Yeah. And like it's still to this day, like whenever a black person's in front of me, I'm like, fuck. Not because I'm racist, but because I'm like, he's probably better than me. I don't know why. I don't know. Like they always look jackter. They always like they're like more intense like looks on their face and stuff. And I'm just like, man. But like oftentimes I'll start playing and I'll be like, it's not so bad. Yeah, but like the intimidation factor is
like for some reason you first show up, people are like, how good is this guy? Like it's just like I'm not that good. Like I'm just trying to get good. Yeah. So yeah, hell yeah. So that's pretty much kind of like.
Now, was there a lot of gangs in the school that you went to in Knightdale? I can't imagine Knightdale has like a lot of gangs, but so where I grew up, there was zero. Like, like I didn't even think gangs were real when I was growing up because I was like, maybe it was just like a California thing. When I moved to North Carolina and like I saw that there was like actual gangs, I was like, holy cow, like this is real. Like
it is.
I've never seen this before.
Yeah, it's very real. Like in high school, definitely there was like. One story, I won't say anybody's names or anything like that, but I was 15 and I got invited to go over to somebody's house. I'm thinking I'm gonna go over there and play the Xbox because that's what was told. Like, hey, let's come over and play the Xbox. I didn't know they had plans to jump me into a gang, and if it wasn't for my a great friend of mine at the time, because I was like, hey, come on, we're going to this guy's house. He's gonna play the game. Me and him both got in just the things that they wanted us to do, we were like, my friends like, dude, our parents would not be okay with this. And I'm sitting here thinking,
You are too white.
It's like,
Just the way you said that, you're just like, our friends, our parents would be very disappointed.
they would be
in us.
disappointed with this. I was like,
Why
yeah.
did you join the gang? Because my parents. That's why it's important to have good fucking parents, right? Like,
Literally, and the crazy part about it was they weren't aware of this. Like I wish I could truthfully be like, man, I wish I had, but like, dude, my parents was on top of anything that I feel the worst about is making my mom look just like stupid, coming up to the school or
I feel that every day. Like when I podcast and I open my mouth, I'm like, man, I feel so bad because I know my parents are so disappointed.
Dude, bro,
But you're not
like,
that disappointed.
right? Like I'm like, yo, it was, that I'll say if anything, definitely like it's been a hindrance, but just looking back on and be like, damn, having your mom show up to the school being like, Mom, I didn't do it, knowing you're lying through your fucking teeth, or like, Mom, I didn't rob the bank. I promise you, I didn't do it.
So
And-
you were in high school?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I guess because I graduated high school when I was 17 because I didn't turn 18 until the summer. So for me, my brain is backwards. So you're a senior in high school, I guess?
Dude, I waited all the way till senior year, first semester to
Oh my gosh.
to do it.
So you're in school, and now you're running with. Now, are you running with a crowd that's predominantly gang members, or just like, are you running with a crowd that's just misfits?
I say a mixture of both, definitely. But yeah, definitely a mixture of both. What is it? My type personality, I probably would have been better off if someone was like, hey, you should go rob that bank. I probably would have been like, no,
Not gonna do that.
Yeah, I don't.
Fair.
Yeah, but I don't know, I'm weird like that. Someone's like, hey, go do something, and then like the natural rebellion is like, nah.
Yeah.
Even if I did want to do it, I'm like,
Right.
nah. Now that you're telling me to go do it, I don't want to do it.
That's basically how I felt about the vaccine, like the COVID vaccine. At first, I was like, I might get it, like if it's gonna help save people. But then they were like, get the vaccine.
Yeah.
Buy you a cheeseburger if you get the vaccine. I was like, man, now I'm not gonna get the fucking
now
vaccine
this
because
is very weird.
like, now
You're
you're
offering donuts
trying to make me
yeah.
do shit, and I don't want to do shit. So you're saying that like your friends did not suggest
No one
for
knew
you to
about
do this?
the robbery until like the morning of. And there was one guy, and I was like, hey, I'm about to do this, okay? I just need you to go to your house and unlock the door for me, type deal.
Oh.
Yeah, because like it was just an idea that just literally came up the night before. Like,
From this YouTube video.
yeah, from a YouTube video.
My kids are never watching YouTube ever.
Dude, no. Yeah, I have so many thoughts of that stuff, but yeah, like that, just a suggested video. And it was just like, could I do that? And
Now, would you say that you were like an ADHD style child, or were you very focused as a child? Like, were you
probably
hyperactive, or were you like what kind of child were
Yeah.
you? Like, were you the good kid in school that paid attention, or were you like the wild child that was throwing paper airplanes and shit?
I was smart, so I could get good grades.
Okay,
But that probably worked against me because I can get bored easily.
gotcha.
So let's say like a kid, like in kindergarten, I remember my mom saying they like recommended her putting me on Ritalin. So I guess maybe
that's so bad,
but she
dude.
didn't do it though. She was like,
Good
no,
mom.
yeah.
Good mom.
She's like, nah, fuck that. So that's when ended up going to private school, and like I said, always been like can catch on to things quickly.
Yeah,
But that would be the issue because once I learned, I'm just like, now I'm just sitting in this
isn't
classroom.
it crazy that they'll put kindergarten children because they're hyperactive, because they don't want to pay attention, because they don't want to sit inside these four walls, this prison.
You're
like,
a young boy. You want to run
You want
outside.
to just go nuts.
Yes.
Like, and now we're going to put Ritalin on them. And
Right.
then, like, your brain hasn't even developed, and we're
At
going
all.
to try to already chemically alter the brain. Like, I get it. You get older, like your brain is, developed, and you need Ritalin to focus.
Exactly.
Like, and you're mature enough to make that decision. But
Right.
like to just give it to a child who has no idea. Like, to me, I think that's like
Yeah.
one of the worst things ever. Like, I mean, they tried to do that to me when I was much older because I'm 10 years.
Yeah.
So the whole Ritalin thing wasn't even a thing until I was in middle school, which
Wow.
would have aligned
Yeah.
with the same time. So it's like, it wasn't just the middle school kids that they were trying to give Ritalin to, it's kindergartners that they're
Yes,
trying to give it to,
definitely.
which is crazy. So, and I was very impulsive too.
Yeah.
I don't know that, but there was probably no banks near where I lived. The nearest bank
That's a
was
good
like 30 minutes away. But I mean, I was a very impulsive kid too. I just wasn't, I was surrounded by swamp people that, there was just too much other shit to do.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like the city, Knightdale, Raleigh's right there. Totally different upbringing than I had. But I understand the impulsive part of it. So you watch this YouTube video, you see that he passes the note.
Yeah.
And did you start formulating a plan?
Walk
me
that
through
was
it.
the next idea. So after I looked up the odds behind it, I seen it's like, okay, usually people get caught for robbing multiple banks. Because I was like, so if you just do one, just to satisfy your curiosity, could you do it? You should be fine. So after I came to that conclusion, I was like, all right, well, what's your plan? And I was like, all right, so you got to go to school. Like, so just go rob the bank, go back to school, check yourself in school detention. And like I said, this was all not thinking like, hey, they could run the cameras back and see when you walked into the school. So, but I'm not thinking of any of this. The plan was just, hey, do this, go back to school, in school detention, and fucking that's that. You found out if you can do it or not. Don't talk to nobody about this shit. Next week, y'all can go and be in Disney World, and that's that. Like, that was just in my head, just simply go and do this. So that next morning, went to the Hardee's in Knightdale, and I was sitting with a friend, and we were like constantly. I was like, "Hey, this is what I'm going to do." He was like, "Bro, you're tripping." He was like, "But if you get away with this, you're the realest nigga I know. If you get caught, you're the dumbest nigga I know." And I started laughing. I was like, "Yeah, I agree."
All of those are facts.
All of these are facts. So writing the note, and I was like, "Okay, this is a die pack, no GPS." And I was like, "Man, should I put I have a gun?" I was like, "I don't feel like they're going to take me seriously or not if I don't put I have a gun. I wouldn't take somebody seriously if I know you don't have a gun." Like, whatever. Not knowing those 4 last words, "I have a gun," is just putting you in a whole nother situation.
Because you don't know anything. You're 17. You're in high school. You don't watch like First 48.
Yeah, exactly. I'm getting
just
in petty trouble. It's just like some shit out of curiosity. And so after we left the Hardee's, it's like still because it's like 7 or so in the morning, maybe like earlier than that, maybe like late, like 6 something. And now it's 7. So I'm like, I have a nice amount of time to think about this, pull out of it or whatever. I don't want to say the scariest, but the part I always get goosebumps over me is after we were sitting in the laundromat, and I remember I got a high score, and I put my name is like bank robber, some bullshit like that. And I was standing in front of the laundromat, and a woman came like off the middle, like out of nowhere. I won't say out of nowhere, but just drove off the street in a blue Toyota Corolla, and she got out of the car, and she gave me a pamphlet. And on the pamphlet, it said, "If you could ask God any question, what would it be?" And she told me, she's like, "Look, I don't know what's going on. Something just told me to give this to you."
What?
I'm not lying to you. And I remember just like looking at
crazy.
it, and I literally said out loud, I was like, "Lord, I don't have time for this shit right now." And I threw the pamphlet in the trash can. So let's say like maybe 10 more minutes go by. Now the bank is open. So we can go in. My friend is walking to the house, and he calls me. He's like, "Hey, like I said, get into the bank." He calls me. He's like, "Hey, there's a police officer out back in the drive-through teller window at the bank. Like I could see, but he was giving someone a ticket." And I was on the phone. I was like, "Hey, that has shit to do with me. Like, I'm doing this. If I walk out of here, it's not happening. I'm here, it's happening." Like just tunnel vision. Yeah, there's a cop out back
giving a ticket
to somebody. But in my head, I'm just like, dude, I'm tunnel vision. This has nothing to do with the situation. He's giving somebody a ticket. And what I'm telling
he's not going to stop writing a ticket to go stop a bank robbery.
I'm just thinking in my head, like he doesn't know there's even a bank robbery right now. It was like, hopefully he pulls off before any of this even happens. Because it's like a full line. Like I had to wait
in line and everything.
Dude, I was waiting in line for at least like 7 to 8 minutes. And freaking finally get up to the register, and the man is like, I guess like, "Hey, how are you?" or whatever type of deal. And I just show him the note. The whole time I have a snapback and a hoodie on. I'm just like kind of looking down, and it's wintertime. So I guess maybe that's why I wasn't so suspicious of why this person has a hoodie on in here right now. And show him the note, and his eyes just got big. But I was super calm. So he was like pretty super calm. Yeah. And he starts pulling the money out of the register, and the woman that was like at the drive-through teller area, she looks back at him, and then like I see her like look at the register, like him pulling out all the money, because I wasn't aware if they're pulling out all the money in the register, some of that money is counterfeit. So if they see all the money being pulled out, they're probably already knowing, this is a robbery happening right now. So I seen her, and she like goes, picks up the phone, and dials the number. But I'm just like, not going to freak out, because there's a lot of people here. You don't want to freak out, and somebody's like, "I'm gonna be a hero," and
thank God, because like
and fucking. So when he gets done pulling the money out, there was like 2 seconds. I would like to say 2 seconds that goes unaccounted for, because when I come back, he's like, "Do you have a bag?" but the cadence of his voice, I could tell he's repeating himself. So there's like a moment where it's just like zoned out.
Where you were just
can't
like,
recall.
you were just like tunnel vision.
But then when I come back, I'm like, yeah, I have a bag. And I took a Food Line grocery bag that morning when I walked out of the house, and I put it on the counter, and he put the money in the bag. But I remember when like seeing the money, that whole tunnel vision, I'm locked in, this is the mission, or whatever the fuck the case is, was out the window. It was like, holy fuck, like, what did you just do, bro?
Oh my God.
So that whole so then that's when I was like, oh, bro, you just fucked up. Like, it's weird. It's like, I don't want to get too religious or spiritual, but like when you hear about people being like, you know, like being possessed, or people do just certain shit, and they're like, bro, I don't know what happened. You just come to, and it's like, it felt kind of like one of those situations, not trying to be like, hey, I wasn't in my right mind. I didn't know what I was doing. I was aware of what I was doing. Yeah. But it's just like upon it actually happening, like, oh, here's the money. It's like, holy fuck, what did I just do?
Yeah. You know, when I was a kid, there was a little boy that used to come over after school, and my mom would he was friends with my brother. My brother's 8 years younger than me, 9 years younger than me, something like that. And so this kid was like much younger than me. And the kid was kind of a pussy. Yeah. You know, he wasn't like me and my brother. Right. And it's still to this day, I have no reason why I did it. But I grabbed a paintball gun and I said, you got like 5 seconds to see how far you can get. And I'm pulling the trigger. And then the kid was arguing. I was like, 1. And he's like, yeah. I was like, 2. And I was like, you're wasting time. And and I got to 5, and I like peppered the fucking, and the kid like falls down. He's crying. And I had the same thing. Like, I was like,
and then you
what the fuck did I just do? Like, what did I even? And so like now I'm trying to tell my mom, like, obviously I'm not getting away with it. Yeah, hell yeah. I got to talk to his parents, like his dad's like raging because I'm like furious. I'm like 15 and this kid's like 8 or something like that, you know, or like, you know, 8, I might have been 16, I don't know, but I was way more mature, way, you know, older, but I had that same, like, still to this day I will think about that, but I'm in my 40s, I'll think about that and I'll be like, I'm not a bully, like I was never a mean kid. What made me fucking think to go grab a paintball gun again? Impulsive, just underdeveloped brain that just sometimes triggers. So you get this money. What happens next? Do you just walk out? Do you run?
I was like, thank you. Fucking still have manners and shit. Nice and I was just like, thank you. And then I walk out. I walk through the parking lot because I'm just like, you know, I don't want to make a scene like just running out of a bank door and shit. Right. But as soon as I get to the street, that's when I take off running. Now, what I didn't start off by saying, I had 3 outfits on that day. So I had whatever I was wearing before, like when I was in the laundromat, I took that off before I went to the bank. Okay. So when I robbed the bank and I got into the woods, that's when I took off that outfit. I got so now I'm down into like a blue shirt with a bright pink Superman symbol, Sperry's on, and some sweatpants. Don't fit the description of a bank robber, right? At all.
Good for you. Like
a little smart. Thinking, not
because
enough.
Like a lot of times, like
you know. Fucking,
like that guy looks like he robbed a bank. He might not even rob a bank, but sometimes you just like, that motherfucker looks like he robbed a bank.
Right. So now at this point I'm running and I get into the woods and there's this dirt path that's like going through the woods, and as I was about to cross through it, like I heard and I stopped, and it was a police sergeant just went dashing down. Now for me, like all the adrenaline running, it felt like it took forever to hear the police sirens. Like in my head, it felt like it was 10 minutes afterwards. But I know like where Knightdale police station is in the state police credit union, that was where I felt it because I said I was gonna go back to school. But it wasn't until I robbed the bank. I was like, oh fuck yeah, I go past the police station to go to school. Oh, so that's why I had to be like, okay, you know what? No, your house, type deal, you know. So on the way there, he passes, and I'm like, all right, fuck it, clear, walk through. Now I'm going through a neighborhood, and another Knightdale police officer, this time he pulls up beside me, and he looks at me. We're both looking at each other, and my heart is in my ass, but I'm just like, do you run or do you play it calm? And he just stares at me, and he's just like, boom, just pulls off because he's like, okay,
he didn't run.
The description. Yeah, he didn't run. Whatever. Make it to my homeboy's house, and I'm jumping up and down. I'm like, hell yeah, like got away, whatever the case is, and got away. But it dawns on me, like, hold on, where's my friend at? He's not in the house. Now, mind you, he was supposed to already be walking home. Right. So couldn't find out what happened was he threw the school binder. So when the robbery happened, the police are obviously automatically dispatched. Yeah. Not planned. Yeah. He fits the description. We didn't know what each other was going to wear that day. He fits the description.
Oh
so
my!
They hit the lights to pull him, you know, to get him. But he, out of a panic, he throws a binder And so they open the binder like, hey, where's he at? By this point, they're like aware
Wait,
of my
what
name.
binder?
A school binder. I'm sorry. Yeah. So by this point, when I'm going to school, I'm only taking a school binder. Like, just, yeah. So I was like,
Because
hey,
you're a senior. Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
So he was holding onto your binder for you?
Because I was like, hey, I don't want to drop this while I'm running.
Wow. Okay.
Right.
Interesting. Like weird thing that goes through your brain to like not want to drop.
Yeah, because I was like, my name's all in this. So if I drop it, it's just
so
like.
So he throws, like he just panics. He's like, what?
Yeah, he just throws it to the side.
And they're like, why the fuck did you throw the binder?
Right. What's in the binder? So they go get the binder and they're like, okay, where is he at? And by this time, they're like some awareness of me just from like getting in trouble around town. Yeah. And so he's like, he's at school. They call back to the school and they're like, he's not here and they're looking for me now. My child's mother, at the time she was just my girlfriend, was like calling me. She was like, hey, where you at? And I was like, at one of my friend's house. I'll be to you later. I got some stuff going on right now. Yeah. And then I guess she got word of like, hey, the police are looking for you. What's going on? And so then I try to play the race card. I'm like, bro, like, babe, like I'm black. They're just trying to whatever. Yeah. And since I told her I was at my friend's house, she like I don't really hang out with too many people, so she kind of knew where to go to. Right. So she pulls up there and she calls me like, I'm here. And I was like, okay, come around back. So jump out of the back window into an AC unit and I'm talking to her in the backyard. I'm like, babe, I didn't do this. I put this on us. 1:30, I'd be at the house. They're just like, I'm high right now, so I'm paranoid and they're just trying to do this because I'm black or just bullshit. Yeah. And it's like what you are kind of high because like the adrenaline and all these like endorphins are like coursing through your body right now. So you're probably saying all sorts of dumb shit. Right. And so like when you like somehow some homes are set up when you can like a bedroom, you can see through the doorway into another bedroom and out into the front of the yard. Yeah. So as I'm climbing back through the bedroom and I put my feet down on the floor, I can see through the front of the house that is just like Chargers, Tahoes, like it's just filling up with like Wake County Sheriff cars and Knightdale police. So I immediately turned around and I didn't know where the money was buried at because once my friend came in the house, I was like, hey, can't have this in here. You're driving up and down the street. Just go put this somewhere. And, he had set it down somewhere to the side of the house, but I just know where it was set down. Like if the home is right here, if I was to run out and try to grab the money, I would be exposed. Yeah. Okay. So if I just run straight back, you can't see behind the house. Yeah. I'm gone. When we were talking, me and the child's mother, whenever she got there, I told her, I was like, yeah, 6 or 7 of us in the house. I don't know why I told her that, but it gave me some time. Yeah. Because when I ran, they're assuming there's 6 or 7 people in the home. Yeah. So it held them up with being like, get out. There's nobody else in the house. Like they already had my friend to the side. Which is interesting because as a cop, like I've had to deal with that, like tons of times where we're just like, there could be somebody in the house. We have to clear the house. Exactly. Do people on the street know that that's the case, or you just got lucky? I don't know. I don't know if people really. I probably just, like I said, just saying shit. So you were just saying shit. Like you were like, I'm gonna throw these cops off, or were you thinking that? Possibly kind of thinking it, but it was just kind of suspicious to me. Like I don't know truthfully where my head was at when I made the comment. But the comment was made, and it worked. It brought me a little bit of time. So once I left out of the house, like one arm over a 7-8 foot fence, like, and now I'm pinned down in downtown Knightdale though. So where there's the railroad tracks there's like a patch of woods right there. And so I'm sitting in the patch of woods. I'm calling people that I fucked over. I'm like, bro, I need a ride. Nobody's picking up their phone and shit for good reasons. Yeah. Like, everybody's like, well, I'm not answering this. Right. I look down. Because by this point, everybody knows. Nobody knows just yet. Oh, nobody knows. Nobody knows except for me and that one guy, your friend. Yeah. But like I said, he didn't have shit to do with it. He was just like, hey, I'm about to do this. Just unlock your door for me. Right. And but your girlfriend thinks you didn't do it either. Yeah, exactly. At this point, like only person who knows is him and you and me. Okay, all right. So I'm pinned down there and I'm like looking to the left. I'm like, damn, I can see them like opening trunks, like searching cars to the left and to the right. So I'm like, fuck, I can't go nowhere. And there's a field like kind of behind the patch of woods. And I was like, all right, you know what, bro? Just run through the fields. But as I'm thinking about doing that, I hear like whoosh, doosh, 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 doosh. And I look up and I'm like, bro, these fuckers got a helicopter out. Oh, yeah. And I was just like, what the fuck? Like, it was just a note. Like, that's this all thing in my head. Like, bro. And where I'm at, the elevation is like his house is kind of down a hill, and like I said, I just literally ran straight, so I can see down like into the yard. And I just see them like they have my at the time girlfriend, like there's like talking to her. I see this, all the police officers, and I don't have anywhere to go. And she's calling me. She's like, "Hey, please come down here. You know, like talk to him, whatever. Like they just want to speak to you." And I was like, "No, you know, I'm still playing the risk card. Like I'm scared. Like no. Like I don't need to speak to him. I didn't do nothing wrong." Type of bullshit. Right. And eventually, after realizing like there was a train, matter of fact, that day a train came past when I was right there, and I thought about, I was like, should I jump on the train? But my balls were not big enough to like chance missing a train. You know, like that's not
like missing train, like getting ran over by.
Yeah, fuck yeah, like trying to jump on and grab and you just slip. Like that's just no. Like I'd rather just deal with the police before that.
Wow.
Yeah. So fucking I was like, all right, fuck it, I'll come and meet them. And so went down to First Avenue, like the street in Knightdale, and that's where they had pretty much like detained me at this point, because they're like, we can't arrest you, you know, we're just questioning you, whatever. And remember me and my homeboy was like kind of looking at each other like smiling and cheesing, because they're like, oh, we might be good, because like this whole time they're searching the yards, nothing is being found, and probably like maybe 15 minutes, I don't know, like time just seemed really long, but it probably wasn't that long. Sure. They had the Wake County K-9 units come out. Those guys are on their shit. Yeah. Damn fucking, I don't know what the hell they gave the dog, but within, I would like to say within like 45 seconds, within a minute of that dog getting out of the truck, I remember sitting in the car and hearing Wake County K-9 units have retrieved the money, Wake County K-9 units retrieved the money, and then it was just like, fuck, okay. And so, yeah.
Now, what was your buddy's reaction? Because he didn't have anything to do with this. Like, he's just kind of like fucked.
Yeah. His reaction was like kind of just same as mine. Like, fuck. Like, definitely when stressed. Like, he didn't have shit to do with this, you know, like at all. Yeah. But like I said, during that time we were getting into like he was already in a little bit of trouble himself. So it wasn't like a standpoint of someone who like has never been in trouble and you're dealing with the police and you're like kind of freaking out about it. It was just like, all right, I'm gonna just shut my mouth. Yeah. Type deal. Okay. And so we get down to the police station, and my parents don't know nothing about any of this until my father gets a news app alert, like Glenn Wilkins robbed a bank. And I'm the third, he's the second. So he's like, Glenn Wilkins robbed the fucking bank. What are you talking about?
No, I didn't.
Yeah. And so they found out. My mother ends up coming down to the station and shit. And like the whole time while I'm down in the police station, they're like, all right, like you're on your ankles, because when I ran, there was a muddy area that I ran through, so it matched the same dirt. You know, it's just all of those things. You know, and I said my friend, he was on probation at the time. Like he was 14 when he had caught an armed robbery charge. Right. And they were pretty much like, hey, look, if you say that this person, you know, was something like had something to do with it, or he did it, we'll let you go. Type aspect. Now, who knows if there was any truth to that or not? You know, it could have just been like, hey, you do it, and like you say that, and we're just gonna lock y'all both up. Who knows? Right. So I was like, okay, I'll write a statement. And the statement was, you know, pretty much going over the whole plan. But when I robbed the bank, you know, such and such knew nothing about it. I put the money in his backyard and apologized. They made me apologize to him. But with that being said, like just confessed, wrote the whole confession. But in my confession was like, he didn't have anything to do with it. Right. And like they obviously made me apologize to him, and you know, like, hey, sorry for getting you caught up in this. Yeah. But the biggest, like I said, the biggest letdown outside of obviously like dragging somebody into some bullshit, you know, was really my parents, dude. It sucked. They were like
super mad, huh?
Super mad. Like people left like where my father worked at, like the next day, like they left the newspaper article like in the break room, you know, because we had the same name. It was like, like look at.
Do they know it was you, or they just think it was funny because like Glenn Wilkins robbed a bank? They know, but they knew.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Exactly.
That's kind of fucked up.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just like things that was happening, like going on with the family that I just wasn't aware of.
Right. Because you're 17. Like
Yeah, exactly.
Really none of your business. You know, it's like my kids have no idea.
Exactly.
You know what we're doing. And
yeah. And so remember they were like, before the whole confession, like my excuses, they're like, well, how's the money in the backyard? And I was like, bro, well, whoever robbed the bank did a great job because we didn't rob the bank. And y'all are in here talking to us while there is a bank robber out there type of bullshit.
Yeah.
And it's like, yo, like cut the shit, you know, like not happening. So like I said, do the write the statement or whatever, confess to it.
Yeah.
Fucking go to first appearance, and then they're like, hey, you know,
so did you go straight to jail? Obviously.
Yeah, and it wasn't until like 1 o'clock in the fucking morning. That was like at 1:30. Like I was at the station for at least probably for
long time.
Yeah, a long fucking time.
Because they got to pull tape, they got to watch it all, they got to gather all the evidence. Yeah, it takes some time.
It takes some fucking time, and yeah, that was a hell of a setback.
Yeah,
a hell of a setback. Finally get down there, go to first appearance, and I think it was like first appearance the next day or so.
Right.
And I remember like the judge was like, you're facing 240 months by the state. If feds decide to pick this up, it's a 480 month like mandatory attached to it because it's a state employees credit union. I didn't know there's a difference between a credit union and a Wells Fargo. And there's on the sticker on the state employees is like shows like a 40-year like with the handcuffs on it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But what saved me was the feds are only interested in shit like that if you have a lot of money or if you're of age to be automatically like sentenced to like a federal charge. So state of North Carolina, 16, 17, you can still be charged as a juvenile or possibly an adult.
Right.
The feds, you will only be a juvenile if you're 16 or 17.
I got you.
Yeah. So it's more advantageous for the state to be like, let's just pursue you as an adult as opposed to letting the feds pick it up. Yeah. And you know, you fuck around and get less time dealing with that shit. Right. But yeah, the first attorney, he was like, it's not looking too good for you. Your birthday's in May. You'll be 18 by then. This is December. And so like, you know, they're gonna put you in Superior Court. Once you're in Superior Court, we don't know how long it's gonna be until you get a court date type deal. And then the second attorney came, shout out to Russell Dement. Ever any trouble? Hired Mr. Dement, y'all. Okay. And he still didn't seem too optimistic about the shit either. Right. But a little more optimism. And I want to say back like maybe into March, like the month of March, I got a letter from the state and it was like, hey, we're dropping your charge down from armed robbery. It's a common law robbery. Because I didn't mention that. I got charged for armed robbery, $250,000 bond. Even when they dropped it down to common law, it was like, we're not decreasing your bond. Right. So the attorney was telling my parents the whole time, like, hey, he's probably going to go to prison. Don't bail him out. Let him get as much time served, you know, like, as you can. Yeah. And so funny part about it is when I was in first appearance, I was like, hey, what's up with probation or house arrest? Like, because in my head, I'm still thinking like, dude, you're a kid. Yeah. No one got hurt. Like, you know, like whatever. And I remember the judge, like someone in the crowd laughed. Like they was in the courtroom, like they had heard them laughing. I was like, oh, that's fucked up. And right. But when I ended up going to court for it, the attorney was like, hey, there's a possibility you may be going home today. And I was like, what? Like, you're bullshitting. But went in front of Judge Fox. He lectured me for like 45 minutes. He's like, dude, I don't know who in the hell knows, like in the district attorney's office came up with this plea deal, but I give you a chance. And they gave me probation for it. The one out of many lessons that I learned out of that experience. Yeah. You would have thought that would have been like, okay, boom, I'm done. No more trouble. Which I didn't get into like any more trouble since then on that magnitude or, you know, shit like that. But I was still smoking weed on probation. Okay. And so it was interesting to me that I got probation for robbing a bank, but I went to prison for smoking weed.
So that's where we're going to go next because I didn't know this part of the story. Before we get into it, today's show is brought to you by ghostbed.com. Sleep so good, it's scary. And I'm going to sleep even better in my ghost bed tonight because I can't even imagine where we're going to go next about waking up to the fact that you're going to prison. Right now, this is the last month of the big 40 to 50% off site-wide on GhostBed. If you want to take advantage of that deal, you want to get beds made in the good old USA, right now, support, if there's ever a time to support American-made companies, now is that time. Head over to ghostbed.com, use the promo code WOLFPACK, and get yourself a bed that sleeps so good it's scary. If you can't afford the bed, we still have the massage topper that's available, which I live by. I love it. And then there's also the pillow pillow, which is a lifelong pillow. You're going to keep this pillow forever and ever and ever. I love all of them. Head over to ghostbed.com, use that promo code today, Wolfpack. We also have factormeals.com/Wolfpack50, meal planning to the next level. They are now rolling out the keto friendly Factor meals. If you'll bring that up, Josh, I'm not sure if you can or you can't, but right now, man, they are averaging a huge weight loss. They basically have given influencers, a big group of influencers, the keto friendly Factor meals. And like right now, I think like the average is like 8 to 20 pounds in like a 4 or 5 month period. But anyway, summer is right around the corner. 4th of July is coming up. I talk about it all the time, how I love being able to guiltlessly and shamelessly eat hot dogs on the 4th of July. It's my thing. I watch Joey Chestnut win another championship, and then I eat all sorts of different styles of hot dogs all day long. And so I cut weight really hard leading up to that day because I know I'm going to gain about 4.5 pounds in hot dogs. So head over to Factor Meals right now. Fresh, never frozen, delivered right to your door. Takes all the meal planning out of it. So whether you want breakfast and lunch, lunch and dinner, breakfast, lunch and dinner, all you have to do is go onto the website, which you just saw, pick out the meals. They even have shakes. They have snacks. They have all sorts of things. Again, calorie conscious. They've got keto. They got vegetarian. They got protein heavy if you want to get jacked. But now's the time to start. Work on that summer body. Get on a diet. Or at least get on a meal plan that one's going to save you money, because now you're not going to the grocery store, wasting all the gas, trying to pick out all the shrimp or the chicken, and the broccoli and all the vegetables. Then you got to cook them and separate them. And you got to find all the dishes and the Pyrex and the lids. You got to sort it all out. It takes up your entire Sunday when you could have just went over to factormeals.com, use the promo code Wolfpack50, and you could have just gone and picked those meals out, and they're going to get delivered to your door. Like right after you order them, they're going to get delivered to your door. You take them out, you put them in the refrigerator, 2 minutes and less in a microwave, and you have a delicious meal that is healthy just the way that you want it to be. And you can start that meal plan. So head over to factormeals.com today and use that promo code Wolfpack50. All right, let's get back into the story because I don't want to take too much time off of it. Guys, I know that the chats have a lot of questions right now, and you guys are really into it. I do love this comment that says way up here at the top where it says, chat is silent. Everyone is concentrating on the story. It's absolutely true. Usually these chats are going crazy. Santana Brothers says, I bet the guys in prison wish they were sleeping on ghost beds. That's a great joke. I bet you they do wish they were sleeping on ghost beds. Man, that was dark. Okay, so you're on probation, which that's wild. They give you probation for the bank robbery. Now, one thing you mentioned was you think it's crazy they gave you probation and they gave you prison for the weed. Yeah. That's not really, I mean, maybe that's your perspective of it, but I will say this as a cop, right? It's never about the weed. No. It's never about the weed. We don't care about the marijuana. What it is that crime begats crime. And I don't know why the courts, I don't know why they don't teach you this in school and why they don't talk about that when it comes to marijuana. Crime begats crime. And what that means is that if you're willing to commit one crime, you're willing to commit another crime. Yeah,
that makes sense.
And so it's a simple rule of don't smoke marijuana. But if you're going to smoke marijuana, more often than not, you're not just smoking marijuana. There's probably other shit that you're doing. Yeah. So in this case, if you're robbing a bank, crime begets crime, right? You're probably, you're not, you're probably not. And already you're acting on impulse. You're acting on, and I love that too, right? The argument is like, weed doesn't even do anything. It's not like alcohol. It doesn't do anything. Well, actually, I would be willing to bet that maybe you wouldn't have robbed a bank because I'm sure you probably got high at some point that day.
Afterwards. No. I wasn't able to smoke that day.
Did you do it that night when you were watching YouTube?
Yeah, I was definitely high, probably watching YouTube. This probably would make, I don't know. Yeah. The weed advocates are going to hate me for this, but I agree though, because there is some science to like, I'm not advocating for alcohol either. I think people make terrible decisions that they wouldn't have made on alcohol. Right. I don't write the rules. I don't write the laws. But what they're saying here is that, as a police officer, whenever we find marijuana in the car, very rarely do we just find marijuana in the car. Yeah. Typically we find evidence, whether we can prove it or not. We find evidence to other stuff, whether it be a cap, Brillo pads, or maybe it's your car. We've seen your car make the same stop over and over again. Shortly after that, female crack whore on the side of the street is high again. Yeah.
we can put it together. No, we didn't catch you with the crack. We didn't get, but it's like you're
Right.
not just selling marijuana.
Exactly.
We know you're selling other stuff. So it's never really ever about the marijuana. Like when we
Yeah.
do find just marijuana, we have no other evidence. We really don't care. We really
Right.
do not care.
No, you really
like
don't.
we don't.
Like-
but it's always something else.
Yeah.
And we just use the marijuana to get to it. And the reason why we use the marijuana is because it's so easy to smell. It's so easy to detect. There's nothing else on the planet like it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like the marijuana is our easy way to get in to the car.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So they let you off, but then you continued in
So-
their eyes to commit crimes. They know,
Right.
well, if you're willing to smoke marijuana
What else are
when
you
we
doing?
told you not to, we just gave you this break of a fucking lifetime. There's no
Right.
way you're not gonna keep going.
Exactly.
And then that's why they hooked you up. So
Yeah.
so you're on probation, which again, deal of a lifetime. I'm thinking in my brain, I'm like, yo,
what the fuck?
you just got a second chance at life.
Yeah.
But you get busted on. You piss hot.
Dude, pissing hot. And you would think one time, this is a great conversation, I guess, kind of to maybe even just lightly touch on.
Okay. Yeah.
I failed. Oh my God. I'm not this guy anymore, y'all.
Right. Obviously.
But fucking, yeah, I failed. I got sentenced. I violated probation 3 times and every time got sent away. So the first time we could say, all right, my bad. I didn't know y'all would really send me away for this shit. Although I did sign an agreement saying I
Right.
would not do this,
Yeah.
but sometimes I sit back and I think like we don't really want to, like, people don't want to speak on marijuana possibly having some addictive traits
Okay.
to it.
Yeah.
And I don't want to throw off addiction on it, like, oh, I was addicted to weed, that's why I just got smoked.
No, but I think you're right.
Sometimes I wonder, because I'm just like, bro,
If
what's
he
the
wasn't addicted, why would
insanity?
people fight for it so hard?
You know?
You know what I mean? Like, why do people, like, if I tell somebody that's having a
Yeah.
problem, because when you have a podcast like I do and
Right.
you have a lot of fans, oftentimes guys will be in a bad way. And I'm very responsive to our fans. Like, I always reply to messages. And so a lot of the guys will message me and say, like, man, I'm going through this, I'm going through that.
Right.
And then I'll ask them, like, what are your drinking habits? Oh, I barely drink, but I just smoke weed.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's try to stop smoking weed and see how that helps. Well, no,
No,
like the
no,
weed's
okay.
great. Like I need the
I
weed.
need to
Like
stop.
I'd be crazy without the weed. Like I need the weed. And it's like,
Exactly.
how can you tell me that this isn't addicting when I have somebody right here tell me that they need the weed and
Right.
their life is shit. They're losing their marriage. Their family life is in shambles, and they're not willing to even try to give up this one thing.
Right.
Yeah. It's interesting you brought that up.
Yeah, it's definitely, like I said, like I know it's probably some of my friends that hate to hear me say this shit, but
Well,
it's
yeah,
like,
and it's like there are things that make you feel good, and I think it's like as a society right now, especially right
Yeah.
now, back when I grew up in the 80s and in the early 90s, kids weren't looking for a way out.
No.
Right? We weren't looking for an escape. Now the kids are looking for something. I mean, we go to the skate parks. You're
Yeah.
there a lot too. There are 10-year-olds and 11-year-olds that are yanking on monsters. There
Yeah.
are 14-year-olds yanking on monsters, but there's nobody. I try to do
Yeah.
it, but there's not a lot of the older guys, the 19, 20-year-old
Right.
guys. A 40-year-old guy is weird.
Yeah.
But like a 19, 20-year-old guys is like, why aren't we telling these 14-year-olds like, hey man, where do you think you're going to, if you're taking
Yeah.
energy drinks now, what do you think happens when you're 25?
right.
Where are you going to get your energy from? Because your body's obviously
Yeah.
going to come dependent on this energy that like you don't
Literally.
need energy. You're 14. Your dick's supposed to be hard.
All
like,
time.
like just thinking about fucking the
Right.
sun. You're like, man, it's a beautiful sun. Brr, you know what I mean? Like,
Right.
and you're running around wild. Like, there's no reason that you
Yeah.
should be needing, but these kids, they're going into these
Yeah.
gases. They're buying the dick pills
Yep.
already. Like, I was on a thread not too long ago, looking up, so that we were sponsored by Blue Chew, which is a dick
Yeah.
party pill. And one of the persons reached out to me that did a Blue Chew,
Yeah.
the Blue Chew subscription, and he asked me like a question about Blue Chew, and I was like, man, I don't know, I don't fucking use
Right.
this shit. Like, like my dick
Hey,
is
look,
hard
they
just
paid
thinking
me,
about it.
man.
I got 5 kids. Like,
Right.
but the last thing I need in life is Blue Chew. So I was like, I don't know, man. But so I got on Reddit. Like I Googled this thing,
Yeah.
and it was something to do with like energy drinks and Blue Chew, because I speak a lot about. I'm pretty anti energy drinks.
Yeah.
I think they're just terrible for you, and I think they're very addictive as well.
Yeah.
And so he sent me this message about Blue Chew and energy pills, and so I started looking it up. And this one guy on Reddit, he's like, "Yeah, I'm 17," and he's like, "I was ripping I ripped a a Blue Chew and a monster, or it wasn't a monster, it was a ghost or something. I don't know. But he's like, I ripped something like that, and he's like, I thought my heart was going to explode out of my chest and everything. And I'm like,
It probably was.
and everybody was like, yeah, you should never mix this up. It's like everybody was saying everything except like, why is a 17-year-old
Right.
kid
You're trying to give you advice on how to better use
on
it instead
taking
of being
dick
like,
pills?
yeah,
Like, yeah, and it's like they don't know the consequences of these actions. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like it's crazy. But we're so dependent as a society on everything. Like we need caffeine. Like life isn't just we don't have enough caffeine, so we
Right.
substitute our caffeine with tons more caffeine. Taurine, like we, you know, like naturally, if you just eat healthy, you're gonna get a lot of these vitamins, like in your food. But we start taking these other supplements, like taurine is all in these energy drinks, right? So now you're getting quadruple the taurine from, you know, and it just goes on. And then of course MSG, like
All
ramen
of
noodles,
that.
right?
The amount of
Ramen
sugar
noodles
that's
is
in it.
so bad for you, and they alter kids' brains immediately. Now I don't know how bad they are for adults, but for a child, and I know this is for a fact because we eat very healthy in our home. But we're not like the crazy strict parents. So like my 3-year-old's birthday is today, right? And so we allowed her to have donuts and lollipop and a ring pop, and we put gummy bears on the table. So when she woke up, it was just like this magical, you know, experience. My house is insane. They're crying. She's emotional wreck. My kids are starting to argue and fight. Early this morning, my wife was like, "This is what happens when you don't give a child the right diet. They're just insane." We don't ever allow ramen noodles. When my son goes and hangs out with a friend and he comes back and he starts acting moody or like kind of gets a little bit argumentative, my wife will be like, "Hey, did you have some like Doritos or you know, what did you eat at, you know, your friend's house?" He's like, "Oh, no, I didn't have any chips or anything like that, but we had a bowl of ramen." And you're like, we can tell, like we can absolutely tell. And just as a society, we've become so dependent on everything except just living life regular, like just counting on your own.
Dude,
We
I
need
don't know.
testosterone. We need caffeine. We need fucking
And I don't know if you noticed, like, I feel like since COVID, there has been like a low vibration of, like, I don't want to say loneliness or depression or whatever, but I felt like I've met more people going through mental health issues since.
Well,
that
look at it.
COVID
If you're eating
time
bad, and that's causing you to have low testosterone, like there's an IPA craze, right? Like all the fucking white dudes are drinking IPAs. Well, like hops kill your testosterone, right? So now we're drinking this. We're eating potato chips. Potato chips are a huge testosterone killer. You know, you start getting low T, you start getting tired, you start making, you know, you don't go out and mow your yard. Now your yard's, the weeds are up in your yard and you feel guilty about that. You don't go play with your kids. You're starting to gain weight because you don't have testosterone to go outside. You're not going outside. Then couple that with video games. Now you're sitting inside. You're not getting any vitamin D. You're playing the video games. Yeah, of course you're fucking depressed. You got no testosterone and you're pounding energy drinks. Your whole chemical.
Getting on social media, looking at people live their lives while you're just sitting in here.
Of course, that's why everybody's depressed, you know, because we're supplementing living with supplements like video game stuff. I mean, the whole gambit is setting people up for failure. You know, it's like you know, when I met you the other day, and I want to get back into your story. I don't want to take up too much of the time, but you know, when I met you, that was a gorgeous day. It was like 72 degrees, not a fucking cloud in the sky. Absolutely gorgeous. How many people were at the skate park? And it was 3:00 in the afternoon, mind you, because I didn't meet you there till like 2:30.
It wasn't.
School was out.
It wasn't packed.
And it's spring break.
Right.
There was like 4 people there, dude.
Yeah.
Like,
you
what
would have
are
thought it
you
would be like
when else are you gonna go? Like when else? Like what? Where's everybody at? That skate park should be packed on a beautiful day like that. You know, everybody. You know, but people aren't going out to parks anymore. People aren't supplementing. So okay, so you fuck up 3 times,
dude. 3 times. I told you I was that kid who'd be like,
your
"Hey,
dad's
that's
not beating your ass."
Dude,
Did your dad ever beat your ass when you were a kid?
Bro, as a kid, I felt like if my parents probably would have beat me anymore, it probably would have like
been abuse.
Hell yeah, like so I was definitely like.
See, I'm the kind of kid that was like, my dad beat me just the right because I was afraid to get beat,
bro.
But he didn't beat me for no reason. But I was afraid. I'm like, man, I don't fuck up. My dad will beat my ass.
Maybe 13 or 14 until my father started being the disciplinary one. So my mother was always the one that was like tearing my ass up. I remember, like, I can't remember what I did at school, but I thought I got away with it. And I was taking a shower.
Interesting.
And she slid open the shower curtain with a belt. And that first swing caught my testicle. And I have
a same story, except it caught my clavicle, not my testicle. My mom tried to get me in the back and she let go of the buckle. Came up over my shoulder, hit me in the collarbone. Man, it fucking hurt.
So I got plenty of it's weird because there's definitely like, I hear those like definitely like the stories of like, hey, be more on it as parents, but like legit, my parents, they were on it, like was like didn't go for the bullshit.
That's
like
yeah.
Sometimes I just apologize to them, like, hey, like I just want to let y'all know, like y'all could not have
now
done
they forgive
nothing.
you pretty quickly over it, or
yeah, I would like to say so. I think.
I mean, the fact that they forgave you at all is like
Right.
they forgave you fast enough. Like, I don't even know. Like, I think my mom would forgive me, but I don't know. My dad might like be like, "Nah, you're dead to me."
Sometimes
kid.
you just be like, dude. But since then, like I said, after that, it made it obviously extremely hard to get like a good job or whatever the fuck the case is. It'd be annoying because you're going to an interview and you'd be talking or like you're studying for some shit. You're like, bro, I'm intelligent enough to do this.
Yeah.
I'm not this person, but I understand this is on my record. So,
so when you mess up the third time,
yeah,
and they're like, you're going to prison.
Yeah, with the third time, yeah, that was at this point that was a CRV camp in Lumberton, North Carolina, and that's where they send like people with like you're on parole or like probation violations. Pretty much a prison, but just for like parole violation. Yeah, and I say every time I went away, it was a different lesson that I was learning. So like the first time going to prison, stop playing so much. Like I didn't prison. Obviously, it wasn't a good experience. Like no one wants to be there, but like. The only fight I got in was because I was trying to hit some kids with a dice cube and hit the wrong person. And yeah, he was upset about it. I didn't think he seen me, but someone was like, yeah, such and such called you a bitch. And I was like, I'm not a confrontational person, but
you have some fun with it.
Yeah,
like,
if you're in prison, like, and someone's like, hey, such and such is a bitch, like, you better go address it or you're gonna have a hard time.
Yeah.
And he was like, oh, that was you. And I was like, yeah, my bad, bro. I didn't mean to hit you. I was trying to hit somebody else. And he was like, oh, okay, that's cool. Well, we still got to go to the box. And
what's the box?
So it's pretty much like if we could imagine this corner from right here, maybe to where the ghost, I say on the other side of the ghost pillow, from the 82nd Airborne to this wall. Okay. You and another person, just face to face and whatnot, and y'all just throw hands. Oh. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, pretty much.
Who determines going to the box?
It could be either party. It can be either party. So whoever is the most offended or like go to the box. Yeah, exactly. Or
and it's pretty fair. Like, do people get shanked in the box, or like, do you know if you're going to the box, like you're throwing fists?
Yeah, like for the most part, if you're going to the box, you're going to throw fists. Like I haven't seen anybody like go to the box and you get stabbed up in the box.
I got you.
I will say, people can be very unfair. So there's this one white guy. So in prison, if you're a young black kid and you're coming in there, the first thing they want to know is like, what gang are you affiliated in and all this other shit. Something I notice with the younger white kids, they come in and people are trying to immediately like pay rent or whatever. Like they think they're going to be able to bully you. There's this one kid who was not going for that shit at all. Like, and, they was like, go to the box. And he laid out one of the guys and then they sent another guy in there and he laid out another guy. But in those situations, it's like, there's some people that you make and fight and they're not fighting fair. Like you start winning, they're going to send their guys in, but for the most part though, it's just show that you like you can handle yourself, like even if, because I don't believe in ties, so I would say I lost that fight. I had like a Popeye knot on my forehead, but I didn't have any problems after that. People were like, okay, like,
all right, he got in the box,
exactly. Like he was like, yo, go to the box. He didn't bitch complain about like, oh, I don't want to do this. Come on, bro. Like, can we just talk? Like, it's like, all right, if that's what you want to do, let's go do it. And then in my head, I'm like, fuck, I don't want to do this. This guy's big as fuck. Yeah. But at the same time, it's like, shit, if I don't do this, my time here is going to be even way worse. Way worse. So
now you told me one story where you had like another fuck up in prison where you were just impulsive again, just young and dumb. And are you willing to tell that story too? Because I think it's important. Like, I think it's like the reason why I find it fascinating is because it's like we as cops, like, we always want to know the why, right? And like sometimes, and I believe you have no reason to lie to me, like sometimes maybe the answer is just
it's a boring answer. Like
it's a boring answer. So like walk me through that really fast because I think it's a fascinating story.
So sitting in a dorm one day, just fidgeting around with a styrofoam cup, and I don't know what made me do this. It was just like, I don't know, like being a troll, who knows? But I started drawing swastikas on a cup, and then I put I Heart In Killers. Yeah. And just a whole bunch of racist shit.
Okay, so because you did that, right? And like a lot of people in the comments are like, what the fuck, right? So he takes the styrofoam cup and he draws a swastika on it and he says he loves Nazis. Now, on my Ranger handbook, Ranger school is a school in the military to become a Ranger. And I was at the very beginnings of Ranger school. And you have this thing, it's called the Ranger Bible or whatever. And the Ranger handbook has everything that you need to know in it. And you have to carry it everywhere you go. Right. And when you get into a classroom, you have to take your Ranger handbook out and you have to put it on the left side of your desk and it has to like sit in a certain way. And then they'll tell you what page to turn to, da. Well, I had already been through another portion of Ranger school called Small Tactics in the Green Beret program. So this was all like refresher shit. Like I already knew most of the shit that they were talking about. Right. So I was really bored. So I drew like a penis at the bottom corner of my Ranger handbook. And then as you thumb through the handbook, the penis would get harder. And then it would start to like shoot. You know, it's like a flip thing, right? Yeah. Knowing that they look at your hand, they like want to look at your notes and everything like that. Yeah. But I had wrote like, I love Berkeley and like Obama, whatever, whatever like the year was. Like I put all this like liberal hippie shit. Right. Like I love hippies. I did the same thing. Yeah. And then like partially through this course, one of the instructors is like, whose fucking Ranger handbook is this? And it was like completely defaced, you know? Right. And he's like, what the fuck? There's a cock in here, you know? And I was like, and at that moment, I was like, why the fuck did I think like this was something I should do? Like,
this is like,
what an idiot. So like, I'm there with you. Obviously, I'm not writing swastikas and everything, but because I'm white. But like, I can see like a blind thing. Like the closest thing to swastikas for being white would be like hippie shit.
Kanye
like,
did it like fucking so.
Like, yeah. So you're like impulsively again, like just doodling, like, blah, 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 which is so bizarre because again, I can relate.
Yeah, and I leave the cup sitting on the table in the middle of the dorm, which was looking back on it, not smart at all to do. And I go back and I'm sitting in the cell and I'm reading a Star Wars book with the fucking moonlight. And I hear a commotion going on out there. And I was like, someone was like, what the fuck is this? And I was like, just immediately just hit me like, oh, fuck, the styrofoam cup. And I go and I look out the door and it's a white man sitting down at the table behind it. And they surrounded him. They're like going off like, yo, the fuck is this? And he's like, I didn't do it, type of shit. And I'm sitting there like, fuck, do I say anything? Because those guys are pretty pissed right now. But I was like, dude, if like, it'll be fucked. Like, I just can't let him get beat up. And, you know, I know I did this shit. So I was like, hey, y'all, chill. And they're like, what? And I was like, I did it. And they were pissed as fuck. Like, fuck, I almost wanted to be like, and I was just joking, like, he did it. But yeah, this other guy in there, he had a lot of rank in the gangs and had took a liking to me. And he was like, hey, chill, like, I'll handle this situation. And he pulled me into the cell and was like, bro, what the fuck are you doing? Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like, why? I was like, bro, I don't know. Like, I do dumb shit. I don't know. Yeah. And he's like, dude, if this was federal prison, they would be like, hey, you go stab your friend up. And if you don't want to do it, we'll just come and stab both of y'all up.
Wow. So, it's like that.
Yeah. Get on your shit, you know, cut out the dumb shit.
Basically, he's saying is like, if you fuck up again, I'm gonna make you.
Yeah, but at that prison, hell yeah. And I say at that prison, I probably wouldn't have got stabbed up. Probably just definitely beat the fuck up though. Like, that's for sure. But he was just saying like in a different yard, this right here of me even just being like, hey, I'm gonna give you this opportunity to talk to you, like get your shit together, would not be.
Where do you think that guy's at now?
You
think he's straight or probably still fucking up or?
I hope he's alive. Like that guy was really, really active. Like,
big active gamer. Yeah, but I mean, like, he has some kind of like compassion and empathy, which I find fascinating, right? Because like as a cop, we look at gang members of just being like lawless, fucking, they'll kill anybody, unpredictable. But here he is, like actually trying to mentor you in some kind of actually like a pretty conducive way, right?
Right. Yeah, there was definitely like he was one of those individuals who I'm pretty sure other people had horrible experiences dealing with this guy.
Yeah.
But
fair.
With me, he was like, hey, like this, I wasn't interested in being in a gang or no shit like that at this time. But he was like, hey, look, this life ain't for you. Like being in prison, and people are like, dude, why are you here? Like, you don't look like you should be here. Like, and even like, I know there's, at one point I was like, I don't know if everybody should be in prison. Then there's some people who's in prison who's like, definitely like, yo, you really need to be here. Like, never let this guy out. But then there are definitely people just like, fuck, okay, like, maybe, you know, you got caught up in some wrong shit and, you know, just figure it out type of deal. Or not even figure it out, like get a mentor. Something I try to do now at this point in life is when I see someone who's like a healthy person or a mentor, someone else like, you know, who just come and try to impart advice on me or whatever, like take full advantage of that, you know,
Yeah,
don't
free,
be like
free information. Yeah.
exactly. Don't be all closed off.
It's interesting.
Yeah. Because there's a lot of people out here who's willing to help you, you know, but sometimes you gotta be able to show like, yo, I'm willing to help myself first.
Right.
And usually after getting in trouble or like losing trust, it's a long time till you gain other people's trust. And it can almost, in a sense, feel like you're just like, what am I doing this for? Like, y'all never going to trust me again.
Right.
But to anybody out there listening who is in a weird position, like the trust, the love comes back. It just takes time.
It takes time.
Even with business wise, like it wasn't until 2023 that good jobs started hiring me. Like work at a science lab now doing maintenance and shit. And I'm super thankful for the opportunity. But that was fucking 11 years later. Like we're here 7 years, but it's like 7 years after probation.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and then even like renting apartments, you know, it's like can't rent an apartment unless you want to go to the hood because they don't have a time frame for violent charges. And I get it, you know,
and
for
then
like
you're still in the hood, which is
you know, so it's like you just have to get creative. So for myself, it was like in 2016, I had started a pressure washing business. And it took like 3 years until like any substance, like, you know, where it broke enough for me to be able to do it full time. But I ended up getting a contract with the property management company. I was doing like 66 of the grocery stores.
Cool.
And for my parents, that was huge for them. They're like, bro, you're out of their house. Like, you know, you're doing your fucking thing. And for me, it was major because it was like, dude, like I'm making great money now. Jobs wouldn't even fucking hire me, you know, type of deal.
Yeah.
But it showed like, hey, like even with the pressure washing business, like I told you I robbed a bank. But I had a deal with the Garter World washing their armored trucks. I could never get hired as an employee, you know? So it just showed me,
that's interesting.
Yeah, certain things of like, hey, you can't own a gun, but if you hired someone who can own a gun, you can start a security company.
Oh, wow.
You know? Yeah. So can't do certain things. It's just
like,
you
gotta be creative. You gotta be creative. And so like right now he has a company called Fake News. I want to take a quick moment to give a shout out to Fake News. If you'll bring that site up for me, fakenews.shop. Here it is. Here's the website out there. If you want to support this guy, he's trying his hardest, man. He's back on the grind. These are really cool jackets. Plus, I love the fake news. You know, you guys know I love the story behind this, and you can go to the About Me page. We're about to jump off of this stream, but we're going to continue the conversation because we're going to start talking about entrepreneurship. We're going to talk about life after prison. We're going to talk about fake news. We're going to talk about where his family lies between like part of his family is Democrat, part of his family is Republican. And so we've got some political stuff that he's gotten into, and he's just come so far since he was 17, he's 29 now. But we're going to continue this on our Patreon account. If you want to join the Patreon, it's less than a cup of coffee a month. It's $2.99. This is a great opportunity for you to get access to our Discord so you can meet people that are having the same conversations. We talk about what's going on in our news channel called Fox News, FAWKES News. So there's political happenings going on there, a lot of stuff that goes on behind the scenes. We're really trying to ramp up our community, our inner circle community. The social media webs are pretty free right now, but we see how fast that can change and all this can go away. So we want to keep our following into one place where we're not going to lose them. So we really encourage you guys to jump on the Patreon. That also gives us a chance to use that money to do our live shows all around the country. So we can do a live show near you. Of course, keeps our producers paid, John and Josh. So if you want to support those who support us, one, buy from our sponsors, GoSped and Factor Meals, and buy from Fake News with a Z, NEWZ at fakenews.shop, and support our friend Glenn here. Just pick up a product, man. Maybe this isn't even your style. I'm telling you, all the money goes to just helping him and encouraging him as he is growing in this life. And you know, I'm really proud because it's really hard to climb up something. You know, it's easy to fall off of something, right? So he started on this mountain where he has these great parents, right? So he's got a hill and he's got a school, right? So that's another lump in the hill. And then he's got good parents, so the hill's a little bit bigger. And then he doesn't have a lot of gang members, so the hill's a lot bigger. It's easier to fall off of a hill like that than it is to climb up a hill like that. And right now he's climbing up a hill. So we're going to take this over to Patreon right now. You can go and pay that $2.99, be a part of the Patreon, and get to the meat and potatoes of this. Again, we're going to continue the conversation. It's going to get a little bit deeper. And the reason why we want to do this part on Patreon is because I want him to talk about his feelings. We're going to talk about some politics and stuff, and we don't want the whole world to see that, right? And so it's if you're a fan of Glenn right now and you want to know more about his life on a personal level, and we know that you're not going to use it against us or use it against him, because that's the way, you know, some people, they start hearing about politics or faith or religion, they start judging you against that, right? And so we don't want that to happen to Glenn at all. So we're going to take this conversation over to Patreon, and if you're a true fan, if you're an open-minded person, and you want to pay that $3, head over to Patreon right now, and that'll get you also into the Discord, get you some other benefits, and you can also subscribe to Tansy Time inside of the Failure Stop Patreon. It's no additional money, so once you pay the $3, you get access to Tansy Time, where I get personal with you about my own personal life, very personal. I got another Tansy Time coming out this weekend that I think you guys are really going to enjoy. And then this conversation here will be under Tansy Time. So he's going to have some Tansy Time with me here on the Patreon. So we will continue this conversation there. For everybody else, thank you so much for following along today on Failure to Stop. Guns up, giddy up. Take us out of here, Josh.